Welcome to TechZine TV.
Welcome to TechZine TV. We're at SAP Connect in Las Vegas, and we're here with Stefan Debase. He's President Global Business Suite at SAP. Welcome.
Yeah, thanks. And, that's a great pronunciation of my name. That's not everyone gets it right. So thank you.
Yeah, I'm Dutch. That helps.
That helps.
You are the president of the Global Business Suite, like I just said. So in short, all SAP business applications fall under your skill set, or how should I call it?
Yeah. So how you should see it is the applications, from our core ERP to supply chain, procurement, CX, you name it, all the applications that we offer to our customers, the business data cloud and everything around data, and then obviously AI. So the go-to-market globally of our entire suite of products is with me.
Okay, so they sent out a press release before this event, and it was also said during the keynote. It's the end of best of breed, and it's now all best of suite. You stand by that messaging?
I do wholeheartedly, and I came from a best of breed solution provider. So I spent 7 years, or the past 7 years as the best of breed solution provider in supply chain. So I have seen best of breed. Now I'm best of suite. So I feel that I can sort of, contrast and compare in a good way. But I absolutely stand by that. Yeah.
And which solution was that, just for the record?
It was O9 Solutions, and it is a supply chain best of breed vendor in the supply chain space.
Okay, and why do you believe that best of suite is going to be the next thing, and it's the end of best of breed then?
Yeah, I think, our point of view is that very similar to what we saw in the infrastructure layer that got commoditized by the cloud, obviously still critical, but commoditized. We believe the app layer will be commoditized as well. And most of the value will sit in what can you unlock with your data, and then how is AI going to help you in terms of manage your business better and make better decisions. Because if you think about it, best of breed solution providers, they came up oftentimes because they offered a slightly better user experience, or there was this feature that they like better than another feature. Now, what then happened is you now have a lot of big organizations that have a very desperate, proliferated enterprise landscape. So there is, multiple solutions used, from finance to supply chain to procurement to HR, you name it. But now think about that in the world of AI, the entire user experience is not so much about the app layer anymore. It is about, what we call Joule. So it was interesting, actually, yesterday, ChatGPT, they announced that you can now access consumer apps, booking.com, Fitma, you name it.
I read your words.
But
a piece about it this morning.
But with Joule, we're going to see exactly the same. And that's what yesterday when we did the keynote, Mohammed talked about app-less experience. So as a user, you don't have to go through all those different apps. The entire experience will be through Joule. So I think that's one of the reasons that best of breed, I think, lost a lot of their differentiation, because they will not be picked based on a better user experience, or feature here or there, because everything, will be commoditized now by AI. Second big one is, if you think about AI and delivering AI at scale, if you're an organization and you run your business on 1,000+ different applications, and all those different applications are trying to do something with AI, that becomes just an absolute integration nightmare.
Okay, hold on. Because I want to step in here, because if you have a best of breed solution with the most features and actions, AI can leverage those features and actions. If you take them away, it cannot necessarily leverage them.
But who is building then the AI? What do you mean with AI? Because at the end of the day, right? So we are a solution provider. So we build apps. Those apps do two things. They run an end-to-end business process, and they generate a lot of, reliable, trustworthy data. Now, then the key question is, what do you do with the data? So there's SAP data, which we provide with two big motions. There is no copy, so you don't have to copy the data, and then rich semantics. What we mean with that is that take a sales order as an example. Sales order has customer data, it has material data, it has delivery data, it has all that data. Now, if you would have to recreate that, you would then need to pull data from 15 different SAP tables and recreate that logic. So that's just very cumbersome to do. So now we say SAP data, you combine it with non-SAP data is then the foundation for AI. But our AI strategy is all about embedded AI and agents that make it back to the core application. 5 weeks ago, this article came out right from MIT. 95% of Gen AI pilots fail in enterprise. So one of the big reasons is that if you have some AI capability as a layer on top that is completely disconnected from the end-to-end business process, it will not scale, and ultimately it will not drive a change, because ultimately it needs to be brought back to where the transaction and decision happens.
But this vision is like in an ideal world in theory, because in practice it will never work, because enterprise organizations always buy multiple vendors. For example, if an organization is now heavily invested in SAP and in Salesforce and maybe in Workday, I'm just naming a few.
Sure.
You're aiming for them to ditch Salesforce and Workday and go all in on SAP. The chance of that happening is not really big. At the same time, during the keynote, was in the press release we mentioned, they're going to support MCP and A2A, or you already do,
Yes.
based on the product. But that's about agents working together.
Yes.
The whole industry is looking at A2A and MCP, and they all say our agents are going to work together. Might not work yet, but it will in the near future. So it's kind of a contradiction by saying we're going best of suite, but we all need to work together. Are you going to...
No, I would say it's not a contradiction.
Are you going to limit the support then for MCP and A2A to really leverage agents from third parties, or have third parties leverage your AI agents or platform?
Look, we acknowledge, right, that there will be only very few companies that will be 100% SAP and no other application in, obviously the application and data and AI space that we're in.
Yeah, critical business apps.
Yeah, fine. So we acknowledge that. At the same time, what we also acknowledge is that there's companies that do not have 3 or 4 or 5 different applications. They have 1,000+ different applications. Yeah. That is just unworkable, especially when we think about AI. So there is going to be a big harmonization taking place in the app space. We are seeing that already. So more and more and more of our customers are actually migrating to a lot of the different SAP solutions in the app space, because they do understand that we then bring the data together, SAP, non-SAP data, we can deliver a unique AI experience. Now, to the point that you're making, yes, we do acknowledge that, there will be a Salesforce, there will be an Adobe, there will be a Workday, there will be other solution providers. And then obviously it is important that agents can work with agents from other software providers. What we are not believing is that a company will consume 1,000 agents from 1,000 different solution providers. We don't see that happening. It's not practical. It's extremely expensive. And the integration nightmare will be, quite significant.
That the question is how big it will be if you leverage only the AI part. If you want to leverage the APIs and the data as well, it's going to be harder. Or you need to have connections, zero copy with your competitors as well. But I don't see that happening anytime soon.
Yeah, but ultimately the key question is, right, if you think about, where ultimately the value is going to come from. The value is going to come from data and AI.
Yes.
So that means that we believe, and that's why we made that statement, that the app layer will be commoditized. Now, it will still be critical and important to run your end-to-end business processes, but the value will be in the data and AI experience. And that's why we are saying, the more your apps run on SAP, the easier it becomes to, connect the data and make that happen. And that also means that, the AI strategy that we chose to pursue is to embed AI and agents, back in the core applications. And what we are finding now is customers are really appreciating that, because they are saying, look, whether it's a procurement or HR or CX or supply chain, doesn't really matter, but they see that ultimately AI impacts, the way they run their business processes. And I think a lot of the AI that's been maybe used in the past 2-3 years is, hey, I take an existing process and there's 15 steps in that process. I'm going to use AI to automate or make step 3, 7, and 11 a little bit better. But what we are saying, no, we can actually now, with embedded AI and agents, rethink an end-to-end business process. So go for, from payroll to fully autonomous payroll. Think about autonomous sourcing. Think about supply orchestration, where from downstream demand all the way into the tiers, we can now synchronize the end-to-end supply chain. So I think that's a very, very, very interesting opportunity. And customers are seeing that, and the feedback has been pretty, pretty positive.
And which applications do you think will vanish then if best of breed is the end? Do you think it will be the smaller ones, or do you expect the bigger ones to fall over as well?
No, I do think, the other big application providers are obviously also looking at, how the space is developing. But, oftentimes also have merged towards suite players. They do not offer one application, but more. But if you are a smaller scale, best of breed solution provider that only does a certain thing, I do think it's going to be very challenging for you, because as a big organization, again, think about that. As an end user, and that's our appless experience, whether Joule is going to Ariba, SAP IBP, S4, SuccessFactors, that does not matter for the end user the moment the entire orchestration is taking place in Joule. Now, assume now that SAP IBP, so planning is done in a different application, non-SAP. What's the advantage for an organization to keep that in that external solution provider? It just creates more complication when it comes to, one, integration, two, the entire, end-to-end experience. And also customers do see that given all the complexity and uncertainty in the world, the moment there is a big decommit in the supply chain, the moment, there is a big upside in demand, how do you synchronize your organization?
Well, let's say it's a very advanced planning solution. How you load your truck from a warehouse or something very specific, which truck needs to be parked where, so you can get the most optimized filling of the trucks.
Yeah.
And it talks MCP and it talks A2A. SAP can talk to it, right? And it can leverage that.
We could, but again, we also offer those capabilities. So the key question is, from an organization point of view, what's the advantage?
The question is, do you always offer the same capabilities? Because, I don't know, loading a truck in a very specific way, I don't know if SAP supports that.
We do that. Yeah.
Okay, but that's why I named something very, very specific. Yeah. But there are probably use cases within planning, for example, that you don't offer. And someone else offers it. There can be a benefit for an organization to say, hey, this special feature that the vendor X offers saves us, I don't know, 2 million per year, because it's so specific for our organization. So they want to keep it on board.
And that could be. And that obviously we do have a lot of technology partners that we work with, but that are also sort of integrated part of the suite. So I'm not saying that everything will be 100% SAP, but I do see that the consolidation is going to take place in the app space, that the value is going to be in the data and the AI world. And I strongly believe that the strategy that we have to ultimately embed AI back in the core end-to-end business process is the right strategy, because I think a lot of customers came back after all their pilots and say, okay, this clearly didn't work. So now it has to be embedded.
The reason I'm questioning you on this is, I think customers might worry about the fact how well you're going to support that agent-to-agent communication.
Yeah.
Are you going to limit that to try to pull customers towards your own platform? Or are you also fully committed to do the best job you can on supporting that agent-to-agent?
We are committed to that, because that is very, very important to us, but it's also important to our customers. And, a couple of the other things, I think a lot of people, they might still think about SAP, how close SAP was 5 years ago, 10 years ago. I would say we are much more open from a technology perspective. This is one of the examples. The other thing, we talk a lot with our customers about user adoption. Our capability for user adoption is called WalkMe. It is also available on non-SAP applications. When we think about Joule is available on non-SAP applications. So I think we obviously also understand that the world is changing. However, we are convinced that our AI and suite-first strategy is benefiting our customers to ultimately drive more value. I mean, I just came out of a keynote presentation with a very large, 60 billion plus manufacturer of electronics. And they said the biggest advantage of having procurement in Ariba, supply chain in SAP, IBP, and finance and core ERP together was when the tariffs hit. And they said, instead of doing all these manual exercises and trying to stitch together different applications to figure out what to do next, we could run our scenarios. The data was all harmonized. We knew exactly what to do. And they claimed that they saved more than 6 months, and especially, speed to market was very significant, but also inventory redeployment was done in a much better way because all the apps were working together. And I think, we see multiple of those examples with our customer base that they are truly seeing the value of that. Now, this company did not use everything that we have to offer, right? So obviously there is still connectivity with other apps. Of course. I think at the end of the day,
move on to the next topic, because there's another issue I see. And I see that at all the vendors at the moment. And I'm wondering how we're going to fix that. And that's SaaS solutions and AI. We're getting AI agents all over the place in every solution. I wonder how a business user is going to have some overview and prevent this AI chaos, because you guys introduced, I think, 24 AI agents this week. You're probably announcing another 24 in the next 6 months. And all of your competitors are doing the same. People can choose out of 100 agents or 200 agents or 300 agents, depending on their software portfolio. How are they going to figure out when there's an agent available, which one to choose? And you even made it a bit more difficult because you introduced AI assistants where the agent fall under. So it's getting like a tree floating of agents.
Yeah. But look,
they all have different names. So why not one interface? And
yeah, but ultimately, look, this is exactly the argument that I'm making in favor of the business suite as an organization. And I understand it's not 100% SAP, but let's say there's some Salesforce, there's some ServiceNow, there's some SAP. These agents and these capabilities need to work together. Mm-hmm. We're committed to doing that. And I know our competitors are doing that as well, because they also know it will not be 100% Salesforce and the likes. However, to that point, I agree with you. It cannot be 100, 200, 300 different applications, all providing agents, and then you need to work together. That doesn't work. The other thing that we have seen that does not work, coming back, is if you take procurement to pay and say there are 15 steps in procurement to pay. You take one step and you say, oh, there's this agent I might use for that. And this other step, there's that. Right? This becomes a complete chaos, right? So that's why we are saying we need to bring it back to the core business process and then say, in which capability do you run this business process? Now, then it comes and a customer might say, look, SAP, we've looked at your AI strategy. We love, most of it, but there's still those 2 or 3 things that we believe you do not support, or we believe you do not support that enough, or then we say, hey, it's great. What we are now doing with our customers is a lot of actually AI co-innovation. So say, okay, why don't we co-innovate and build agents together? Why don't we co-innovate, in your example, build a truckload optimization engine together? So again, we can then also do those kind of activities. So I think...
But how is a business user going to find these agents? Because there are so many.
Yeah, but as a business user, it comes back. So you would use an application for, let's say, procurement. Then within procurement, we would then have embedded AI cases and agents for the user to work with. But what is not happening is that you take procurement and say, oh, by the way, I can now use 20 different agents from 20 different solution providers. That's not happening because
but you might already have 5 agents in Ariba.
Oh yeah, more.
Maybe more.
Yeah.
So how are they going to figure out when to use what?
No, but that is obviously that we provide that as a service as well. And we go to our clients and say, okay, you have been using Ariba in a certain way. We announce next generation Ariba. Then on top of that, we have AI cases and agents, and we work with our customers to reimagine those processes. And then it comes back to how do you then support them? And that's where the tool chain comes in, right? Lean IX is going to be extremely important to model and map future architecture, including agents and integrations. Signavio is going to be extremely important, which is not anymore just the process that we knew, but what is a business process that's supported by agents, and how can we work with our customers to show them that? And then there is WalkMe that will also help. How do you then leverage the agents and AI use cases? Again, when a user is interacting with the software. So I would say we have a very good answer.
But does it mean you remove the old UI and put AI in place?
Oh, yes.
That it's forced to use AI, it's not optional anymore.
I mean, at this moment in time, you can still use the app, right? And the UI UX of the app. But going forward, it will be, AI and Joule will be the new UI UX of our enterprise software for sure.
Okay. So we're going to see more chat inspired interfaces to.
Yeah, and it's not just chat,
right?
To
do I don't know, process a PO and a Ariba and make it an invoice or something.
Yeah, or hey, I need to run an RFP, find me the 5 best suppliers. So then we use the business network where we already have 3 million vendors, transacting every day. We can create the RFP with AI. We can issue the RFP. The RFP comes back. AI can evaluate the RFP responses. And then actually AI could propose which vendor to select. And then we can do the entire contracting and PO process with AI as well. So, but that's exciting.
That's always faster than the manual process in the past?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, AI is going to, it was interesting. It just came out of the discussion with the customer and say, the biggest opportunity that I see with AI in procurement in this case is just the time to procure. We can cut by 80%. If you think about how much time is spent, okay, which suppliers do I need to send this RFP to? I need to write an RFP. This is all manual work. This will all be automated with AI, which I think is a massive advantage for organizations. And this is just procurement. When we talk about HR, CX, supply chain, finance, it's all the same, right? There's a big opportunity there.
SAP wants to become the UI for AI, basically, for organizations and to control that. All your competitors want to do the same. What makes SAP win this battle? What do you have that they don't?
At the end of the day, there's 2 things that we have that none of our competitors have. We have the broadest portfolio of end-to-end business applications. And at the end of the day, it comes back to where do you run your end-to-end business process? And the second thing is, there is a lot of extremely valuable data that is needed to do any meaningful AI that's sitting in an SAP system. And yes, you can take that out. You then need to recreate the semantics. The moment there is a change in your business, you need to recreate the semantics that you already created. It can be done. It's just very time consuming and very costly. So why would you not do that with the SAP portfolio? And that's why when we announced Business Data Cloud in February, the take-up has been unbelievable. Customers truly, truly see the benefit of it because it is the foundational step to then do AI. And I think a lot of companies now, they move to AI without understanding that it's first the apps, then you solve for the data problem, and then you can deliver meaningful AI.
Okay, we're going to see how it turns out then.
Yeah, I'm excited.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for watching TechSign TV. We'll be back with more from SAP Connect in Las Vegas.
Thank you for watching TechScene TV, the channel about enterprise technology that brings you IT insights and analyses from events all around the globe. We cover everything, everywhere. Visit techscene.eu for more written in-depth articles and analysis, or keep watching techscene.tv. Don't forget to subscribe to our channels and share your favorite videos with your colleagues. We'll see you soon.